It's no secret that if you're really good at football, you can earn quite a lot of money. And yes, I have chosen a photo of Jonny Evans to illustrate that point. Even if you're only quite good by professional standards, and even verging upon the mediocre, it is still possible that you can earn pretty astronomical sums, as you're about to discover. So long as your timing is good, you've got the right agent, and, in a number of cases, you're willing to move to China. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd be up for making a complete reversal. I mean, not the lowest paid, that would just be a list of Sunday League players, but the most underpaid player at every age in relation to their talent, which could be quite interesting. Just before I begin, I'm going to do a rare call to arms and ask you all to subscribe to HITC Sevens, because, number one, my boss laughed at me when I said I wanted to hit 400,000 subscribers by the end of this month, but we're only 8,000-ish off that target now, and two, Sevens has actually grown quicker than HITC Sport for the last 12 months, and it'd be funny to see the Scarfman's reaction if we manage to overtake him. So, be a legend and hit subscribe. It's for the greater good. Right, back on topic. Here are the highest paid footballers at every age from 16 to 40. 16. YOUSSOUFA MOUKOKO. Of the entire 25 players featured in this video, the entry for 16 was the toughest to source, probably for pretty understandable reasons. I cannot be 100% sure therefore that YOUSSOUFA MOUKOKO is the highest paid 16-year-old on the planet, but the Dortmund star did apparently sign a deal worth £6,000 a week at the age of 15. According to the wretched Murdoch-owned Sun newspaper. Born in Cameroon, where he spent the first decade of his life, MOUKOKO moved to Germany in 2014, where he has become the nation's most talked about teenage prospect. The youngest player in the history of both the Champions League and the Bundesliga, MOUKOKO also signed a €10 million endorsement deal with Nike back in 2019, when he was only 14 years old. 17. Jude Bellingham. Whilst Borussia Dortmund aren't really renowned for splashing the cash, at least not in relation to their classic rivals from Bavaria, clearly they are willing to invest in the future, as we can tell from the first two inclusions in this video. Jude Bellingham joined Dortmund last summer for a reported £25 million fee, plus significant performance-related bonuses, making him the most expensive 17-year-old footballer of all time. Perhaps it is unsurprising then that the former Birmingham City star and England international is apparently the highest earner in his age bracket, with a supposed salary of £52,000 a week. 18. ANSU FATI. A magnificent young footballer currently working his way back from a long-term injury layoff, ANSU FATI had already made 43 appearances and scored 13 goals for Barcelona before tearing the meniscus in his left knee in November. The Buasso-born Spanish international is a joy to watch and could be key to FC Barcelona's long-term success. That's reflected in his most recent deal, penned back in December 2019 and reportedly worth £70,000 a week. 19. William Saliba. Though he won't be 19 for much longer, for the time being, William Saliba is said to be the highest paid 19-year-old on the planet. That's despite supposedly earning less than both ANSU FATI and Jude Bellingham, and you'll find with all the more prominent candidates who you think might be 19 that they have actually turned 20. Once coached by Kylian Mbappe's dad, William Saliba joined Arsenal in the summer of 2019 for £27 million, but he was immediately loaned back out to Saint Etienne. It was felt that this season would be his big breakthrough, but the Frenchman never got a look in under Mikel Arteta, and he was loaned out to Nice in the January transfer window. The Parisian is rumoured to earn £40,000 a week, which is the same as West Ham number 2 Darren Randolph, a fact of absolutely no relevance or importance. 20. VINICIUS Jr. We step out of the junior leagues and into the big time at the age of 20, leaving the teenage years behind and coming to a man who earns some serious money. Signed by Real Madrid from Flamengo for €45 million in 2018, that was the highest fee ever paid for an 18-year-old at the time. Despite having been superb for Real's second team and Brazil's youth teams, Vinicius hasn't yet set La Liga or the Champions League alight for Madrid. Frighteningly quick and undoubtedly talented, the 20-year-old Brazilian is yet to add the final touches in terms of his end product. He's at a bit of a crossroads at the moment, with reports speculating as to whether Real Madrid may persevere with him or look to cash in over the summer within the Spanish press. But one thing's for sure, there won't be too many who can afford him with a reported salary of £197,000 a week. 21. MATTHIJS de LIGT. Given the size of MATTHIJS de Ligt's transfer fee upon signing for Juventus, I shouldn't think anyone will be too shocked to discover that he is apparently world football's highest paid 21-year-old. The Dutch centre-back, who was captaining Ajax as a teenager, set Juve back some €75 million in 2019, and he endured a tough debut campaign, thrust straight into the action in light of an injury to Giorgio Chiellini. His form has improved since that rocky start, which is good news for Juventus, given that they are reportedly paying him close to £214,000 a week. 22. Kylian Mbappe. The highest paid player in world football under the age of 28, whilst it takes most players a little bit of time to hit the jackpot of silly money, Kylian Mbappe isn't most players. The Frenchman signed his most recent contract at PSG, worth a reported £403,000 a week, back in 2018, when he was only 19 years old. Mbappe is about to enter the final year of his contract in Paris, and given that he is possibly the most sought-after player in the world, they'll probably want to address that situation in the next few months. 23. Ousmane Dembele. Given Barcelona's bloated wage bill, it will come as little surprise to find a handful of their players in today's video. Ousmane Dembele is the first, aged 23, and with a reported salary of £212,000 a week. It's important to note that Barcelona players recently agreed to take quite a substantial pay cut, so that figure is likely to be somewhat lower now, though I've no idea how much lower. Officially the 6th most expensive footballer of all time, Dembele has had a nightmare time with injuries in Catalonia, though he recently scored an important goal against Sevilla, which is one of a number of telling contributions from the much improved Frenchman so far this term. 24. Ben Chilwell. Here's one that you probably didn't expect. Now, I think that Ben Chilwell is a solid left-back, but a £45 million fee and a reported salary of £190,000 a week must mean that Chelsea thought that he was the second coming of Roberto Carlos. In terms of wages and fee combined, the finances involved in that deal mean that Chilwell will have cost Chelsea close to £95 million by the time his current 5-year deal comes to an end. The Englishman has made 26 appearances at Stamford Bridge so far this season, a regular in a back four, but sometimes dropped for Marcos Alonso when Thomas Tuchel opts to play with wingbacks. 25. Leroy Sane. There's little to split two Germans at the age of 25, and it was very nearly a West London-based double whammy on that front. Blues forward Timo Werner is said to have signed a deal worth more than £270,000 a week when he arrived at the club, but his compatriot and international teammate Leroy Sane earns around £1.3 million a year more than him. Alright, it doesn't sound that close when you put it in annual terms. Sane is a sensational footballer who Man City were no doubt sad to see go, especially for the cut price fee involved, and he has bagged 8 goals and made 8 assists in 31 outings since arriving at the Allianz Arena. 26. Marquinhos. I suppose it is somewhat surprising that of the 8 players to feature from the age of 19 through to 26, half of them are defenders. Only one more defender will follow Marquinhos in the rest of this video, so 5 points if you can guess which. But at the age of 26, we come to Marquinhos. Signed by Paris Saint-Germain from Roma in 2013, having spent just a single season in the Italian capital, Marquinhos now ranks 9th in PSG's all-time appearance charts, and there's no reason why he couldn't one day top that list. To be frank, if someone offered me £250,000 a week to live in Paris, which is apparently what the Brazilian is on, then I wouldn't be in any great hurry to leave either. 27. TALISCA. Those of you who watched my short documentary film about the potential downfall of the Chinese Super League will know that the lucrative Far Eastern League is in slight disarray at this moment in time, and many of the division's ludicrously well-paid stars have recently departed. Not all though, and one man who's still strutting his stuff in China's top flight is uncapped Brazilian number 10 TALISCA. A man who supposedly earns more than the likes of Paul Pogba, who is also 27, Robert Lewandowski, and even Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola, TALISCA joined current club Guangzhou Evergrande on loan from Benfica in 2018 and then on a permanent basis in 2019, having previously been linked with a move to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Unless Wolves were willing to pay him £383,000 a week, which is what he is apparently on at Guangzhou, then it's easy to see why that deal never happened. 28. Philippe Coutinho. Our highest earner yet, Philippe Coutinho is the second man in this video to break the £400,000 a week barrier, though there are certainly many more to come. Our fourth Brazilian and the third in immediate succession, Coutinho, is either the third or the fourth most expensive footballer of all time, depending on add-ons between himself and João Felix. Coutinho joined Barcelona from Liverpool in January 2018 in a crazy deal from a financial perspective in terms of both the fee and his wages. Coutinho has struggled to justify either in Catalonia at this point, and his most memorable performance in a Barcelona match probably came against them on loan at Bayern Munich, where he scored twice and made an assist off the bench in a Champions League quarter-final. 29. Neymar. The fourth straight Brazilian to feature in this video, Neymar is the third highest paid footballer in the entire world, in terms of both his wages and his various commercial revenue streams. Often cited as the most marketable footballer in South America, more valuable to advertisers than even Lionel Messi, Neymar is a unique talent who has been superb for PSG since his record-breaking move to Paris. I'm not sure if it's ever even possible to justify a £198 million transfer fee or a reported £45 million a year salary, but if it is, then I suppose Neymar has done it. Three of the highest paid players in the world are all aged 29, with Neymar joined by Antoine Griezmann and Oscar. 30. Eden Hazard. You can debate whether Neymar has justified the eye-watering sums involved in his move to PSG, but for now at least, a similar discussion surrounding Eden Hazard appears to be an open and shut case. The Belgian set Real Madrid back at least €100 million and potentially as much as €146 million, signing a 5-year deal reportedly worth more than £400,000 a week. A combined front three of Lautaro Martinez, Son Heung-min and Harry Kane would cost you less. Since his arrival, Hazard has been mired by injuries and poor fitness, and he has scored just 4 goals in only 35 games in more than 18 months at the Bernabeu. 31. Gareth Bale. Another man who has played most of his recent club football in London and Madrid, Gareth Bale is currently on loan from Real Madrid back at his old club Tottenham Hotspur. The 6th highest paid player on the planet, Bale's contract with Los Blancos is worth a reported £564,000 a week, of which Tottenham are said to be paying roughly half for the duration of his stay in North London. Up until a few weeks ago, Bale had done very little since returning to Spurs, but he has recently hit a purple patch of form, with 4 goals in his last 3 outings. 32. Paulinho. Back to China, and back to a Brazilian playing in China. And indeed, back to Guangzhou Evergrande, though they're formerly just known as Guangzhou these days, with 32-year-old former Tottenham Hotspur flop, Paulinho. Signed by Spurs from Corinthians, Paulinho is now in his 2nd stint in China, either side of a season, with FC Barcelona. The box-to-box midfielder, who looks like a man playing against boys in the Chinese Super League, has been highly prolific from midfield ever since his return. He is reported to earn over £450,000 a week with Guangzhou, which is almost twice as much as Kevin De Bruyne reportedly earns at Manchester City. 33. Lionel Messi. The highest paid football player on the planet, according to recently leaked reports in El Mundo, Lionel Messi earns around £160 million a year at FC Barcelona, when all loyalty and sign-on bonuses are taken into consideration, which isn't that far off, £4 million a week. I honestly find that hard to believe, but the Spanish press seem to think it's true, so who knows. Even if you take more modest previous estimates surrounding Messi's salary, something as low as just £1 million a week, it's still enough to make him the world's highest paid 33-year-old, and the world's highest paid player. In his defence, he is quite good. A genuine honourable mention must go to Marouane Fellaini at 33, who apparently earns more than the likes of Robert Lewandowski and David De Gea. 34. Sergio Ramos. I invited you to take a stab at naming the only remaining defender to feature whilst talking about Marquinhos back at the age of 26, so feel free to reward yourselves with 5 points if you said Sergio Ramos, redeemable in exchange for cash at stores absolutely nowhere. Sergio Ramos is the highest paid defender in world football with a reported salary just shy of £340,000 a week. The 34-year-old has been a magnificent servant to Real Madrid, but with his current deal set to expire this summer, Ramos has apparently been offered a new 1-year deal on reduced terms with the option of a 2nd year, which the club has put a timeline on Ramos to respond to. 35. Luka Modric. Real Madrid have no lack of representation in this video, with more inclusions than anyone else by my estimates. Luka Modric is the 5th Real player to feature, provided you count Gareth Bale, given that he is contracted to the club, and also the last. Signed by the club back in 2012, Modric took plenty of criticism during his debut campaign in Madrid, but he has since silenced all of his critics and cemented his place as one of the finest midfielders of his generation. Real Madrid rewarded him for his efforts in December 2019 with a deal said to be worth £294,000 a week, which also expires this summer, and the club are apparently in talks with the Croatian about extending his stay in the Spanish capital. 36. Cristiano Ronaldo. If this video had started with a quiz where you had to try and predict which players would feature in this video, I suspect 99% of you would have predicted Lionel Messi, Neymar, and Cristiano Ronaldo, and you'd all be quite right to do so. Ronaldo's salary is reported to be somewhere in between Messi and Neymar's, with earnings rumoured to be in the region of £1 million a week. Ronaldo also makes an absolute fortune, even more than Messi, through endorsement deals and various commercial revenue streams. Again, you'd have to say, he is quite good at football. 37. Franck Ribery. There's a big drop-off from the age of 36 to the age of 37, which is reflective of Cristiano Ronaldo's talent, longevity, and ongoing star appeal at the age of 36. Franck Ribery is one of the greatest wide players of the 21st century who shared a Ballon d'Or podium with Messi and Ronaldo in 2013, but he is no longer a truly world-class player at the age of 37. Ribery left Bayern Munich in 2019 following 12 enormously successful years at the club, penning a 2-year deal with Fiorentina, which is reportedly worth just over £100,000 a week. 38. Pepe Reina. The two highest paid footballers at the age of 38 are both called Pepe, namely Spanish goalkeeper Pepe Reina at Lazio and Brazilian-born Portuguese international centre-back Pepe at Porto. Reina edges it between the two, the former Liverpool star having agreed to a 1-year deal worth a reported £65,000 a week in the Italian capital last summer. 39. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I talked about the longevity of Ronaldo with that drop-off to Ribery at 37, and whilst Ronaldo could go on to replicate him, the ongoing performances of Zlatan Ibrahimovic at the highest level, aged 39, are quite incredible. The veteran Swede has scored 14 goals in 14 Serie A outings for AC Milan this season, and 16 goals in all competitions. Whilst the Rossoneri have lost ground in the Serie A title race in recent weeks, they'll be in with the shout so long as Ibrahimovic stays fit, and the 39-year-old has been worth every penny of his reported £187,000 a week deal ever since his return to the San Siro. 40. Rodrigo Tabata. Our final inclusion heralds our first player who is not based in either Europe or China. Rodrigo Tabata was born and raised in Brazil, and he didn't leave South America until the age of 27. He joined Qatari outfit Al Rayyan in 2011, and in 2015, aged 34, he became a naturalised Qatari citizen and began representing the Qatari national team. Over the next 2 years, Tabata won 18 caps for Qatar before retiring from the international game. He is still going strong in club football though, aged 40, where he is said to earn more than £27,000 a week playing under Barcelona legend Xavi Hernandez for Al Sadd. Tabata has scored 9 goals in 18 games from attacking midfield this season, and he's contracted to the club until at least the summer of 2022. So that's it for today's video. A couple of takeaways for you, I suppose. One is the dominance of both Real Madrid and Barcelona players, with 9 entries between them, and another is the distinct lack of Premier League players. Despite being the highest paying league on the planet, that cash is more evenly distributed than in most other leagues, and William Saliba and Ben Chilwell, 2 of the least paid players in this video, are the only 2 players contracted to Premier League teams who featured, and Ben Chilwell and Gareth Bale are the only 2 players currently playing in the league who appeared. I mean, if I'd have said to you before the start, guess which Premier League players feature, I doubt many people would have said just Ben Chilwell and maybe William Saliba and Gareth Bale if you count him on loan. Anyway, that's just my takeaway. Thank you all as ever for watching. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section, and make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, as I said in the introduction, to the ever brilliant, wonderful and inspiring HITC Sevens. You can also find me on Instagram or Twitter by the username @HITC Sevens should you wish to do so.